and this entire move of Ethereum going home and then going to all-time highs, what I think is the most likely outcome is for Ethereum to drop in September. Now, where will Ethereum drop in September? For me, to have Ethereum put in new all-time highs in August was the best case scenario, right? That was what we wanted to happen. Now it's happened, right? Now it's happened. And what I think is going to happen is the time frame for Ethereum to set its local top is over the next week.
Ethereum's latest rally is unfolding in a way that reflects the cyclical nature of the crypto market, and it could reshape how investors think about its long-term trajectory. Benjamin Cowen, founder of Into the Cryptoverse, has long argued that Ethereum needs to go home to its regression band before making a sustainable move higher. That reset has historically occurred after a breakdown in Bitcoin, creating the conditions for ETH/BTC to bottom out and attract new buyers. Once that support was established, Ethereum had the strength to break through resistance and move into new all-time highs. The most recent move played out against a backdrop of broader market activity. Bitcoin surged to nearly $117,200 on Friday following Powell's comments, climbing from around $112,000. By Sunday, Ethereum had reached $4,954, surpassing its 2021 peak of nearly $4,891 and setting a new record. Yet the rally was quickly tested. By Monday, Bitcoin had slipped back to $112,000, reducing its year-to-date gains to about 19%, while Ethereum dipped under $4,680. Despite the pullback, ETH still holds an increase of more than 37% this year, a performance that underscores its resilience amid volatility. Cowen sees this structure as healthier than the alternative. If Ethereum had stalled around the mid-$3,000 range, a correction could have dragged it back into the $2,000s before another breakout attempt. By making fresh highs in August, however, the market has cleared a significant hurdle, setting up a stronger foundation for the next phase of growth. If you found value in this breakdown, please hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with other investors who are paying attention to help us grow. We're here to keep bringing you sharp analysis and voices that understand what's unfolding. Thanks for watching.
Breakdown by Ethereum because of a breakdown by Bitcoin when it normally doesn't, to allow Ethereum to go home, something that happens every single cycle. And by allowing Ethereum to go to the regression band, it has then allowed the ETH pair against Bitcoin to bottom out, which has then allowed Ethereum the necessary buyers down here at 1600 and below, to then propel Ethereum beyond 4K and into new highs. This has been the base case, right? We got a lot of hate on this channel for saying that this move to all-time highs would not happen until Ethereum went home. We stuck to it, right? We had conviction on this idea, and now it has played out. So, with Ethereum going to new all-time highs, it raises the question, what's next? Well, if you've watched my videos for the last couple of years, you'll know my expectation for Ethereum on the first run of the highs, right? And it's unfortunate because this is a cause for celebration, right? I mean, Ethereum hitting a new all-time high after 4 years, in my opinion, the cause for celebration, right? How do you not celebrate something like that? Because only a few months ago, so many people were calling for the death of Ethereum and how it would never go to all-time highs. And yet, here we are, right? It's proof that there was nothing really wrong. We just had to see Ethereum go home. Based on everything that we've said, years, and this entire move of Ethereum going home and then going to all-time highs, what I think is the most likely outcome, September. Now, where will Ethereum drop in September? First of all, look at the calendar. Is it September yet? No. Okay? So if Ethereum goes up this week, get off my back, right? It'd be great if Ethereum went up this week. I would love to see it sweep 5K before a pullback in September. But unfortunately, I don't always get what I want. But I do see a pullback coming for Ethereum next month. I want to draw your attention to the last 2 Septembers of post-election years for Ethereum. September of 2021, Ethereum dropped 34%. September of 2017, Ethereum dropped 48%. I think Ethereum will check back in with its bull market support band in the coming weeks. So essentially, we get the run of the highs. And by the way, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this was the more optimistic outlook. If you go back and watch my Ethereum videos from like a few weeks ago, back when it was like 3,300, right? Back when it was over here, what did I say? I said, look, guys, what I'd like to see happen is for Ethereum to run the highs in August so that in September, when we have our negative seasonality for whatever narrative you want to make up, it corresponds to the initial pullback off the highs. Because a lot of times when an asset sweeps a high that's been holding resistance for like 4 years, it's going to get usually a knee-jerk reaction back down, right? And so it's great if that reaction back down can correspond to a time when we already have bad seasonality. If Ethereum were still sitting at 3,500 right now, I would not like that at all, because what it essentially would mean is that, like, then it would mean that, the pullback could take us back into the 2000s, right? And then we still have to run the high rejected at some point.
Ethereum's surge to new highs suggests it may be nearing a local top, with the timing likely within the next week and possibly stretching into early September. A move toward the $5,000 level would be constructive, clearing resistance and setting the stage for stronger momentum later in the cycle. However, if the asset runs too far, closer to $6,000, it could risk forming a more significant top earlier than anticipated. History supports caution. In September 2021, Ethereum fell 34%, while in September 2017 it dropped 48%. Both declines occurring in post-election years, which have historically shown seasonal weakness. This time, a likely pullback in Bitcoin to its 20-week simple moving average could act as a catalyst, dragging Ethereum down as well, weakening ETH/BTC, and forcing the market to establish a new macro higher low. Despite this, the outlook remains constructive. Short-term drawdowns of 20 to 30% are seen as part of the natural rhythm of crypto cycles. A healthy reset that clears excess leverage and builds a stronger foundation. Such a correction could set the stage for an explosive October, where Ethereum not only recovers but rallies into fresh all-time highs. The broader cycle remains intact, with upside potential still firmly in play. Let's get back to the interview.
What I think is going to happen is the time frame for Ethereum to set its local top is over the next week, approximately 1 week. It could go as late as very, very, very early September, but I would lean towards thinking it's just going to be in August. But I'm not completely closed-minded to the idea of it happening the first day of September in 2020. The pullback didn't happen until after a spike on the first day of September. So it is possible that something like that happens. But what I think is within about the next 7 to 8 days, I think Ethereum will put in a local top, and ideally below, let's put it this way. If Ethereum runs too hot before the September pullback, which I don't think it's going to, right? I mean, it could go, 5K is fine, right? 5,100 is fine, 5,200 is fine, right? Like, it's fine if it goes there. But if it runs to like 6K or something, that could be it. And I don't want that. I want it to go on, a little bit longer. So what I think would be the best case for the market to kind of set up a stronger October, what I think would be a better scenario is for Ethereum to pull back in September to then allow an explosive October, right? That is what I think would be the best case scenario. Because if not, if this is where my streak ends, right, and I get the path wrong, then it would likely just lead to a lot of people chasing, right? And getting sort of like a melt up into a top during a time frame when it doesn't normally top, right? So what I think is the most likely outcome is Ethereum puts in a local top within about the next week. A pullback to the 20-week SMA is going to likely happen for Bitcoin in September. And because of that, it's going to drag Ethereum down with it. Now, when Bitcoin gets that pullback, it's likely going to cause ETH to drop against Bitcoin. That's the most likely outcome. Ethereum is leading right now. It absolutely is. And it's led since it went home in April, right? It has. But I think we need another macro higher low. I think we're going to get it in the September to October timeframe. Could be as late as the first day of November. But September, October, I think you're going to see ETH Bitcoin start to fall back in a little bit and try to find a macro higher low. So what I'm watching for over the next week is for Ethereum to find a local top. It could already be in theoretically if the high is just 49.56 or whatever. Could be in. Could also easily see a scenario, right, where Bitcoin holds on for like one more week, allowing Ethereum to run 5K. Would really like Ethereum to just run 5K, kind of in the same way of, just breaking a new all-time high. If you can break through that barrier 5K, then when September hits, you've at least gotten that out of the way, so that when October comes around, you've kind of already got through the 5K sellers, right, before the September pullback. So that would kind of be like the most optimal scenario. Don't know if we're going to get it. Look for a local top, within the next 7 or 8 days. I would expect a pullback by Ethereum in the September timeframe to then lead to another rally in October to fresh all-time highs. So again, can you stomach the drawdown? It's crypto, right? I mean, this is what you signed up for. I don't know why you're mad at me. If you can't handle 20, 30% drawdowns, then, I go somewhere else, right? Go somewhere else. Don't be here. Because that's just what's going to happen. So in the meantime, celebrate the all-time high for Ethereum. It is, it's a remarkable thing that this has played out. And it's crazy how it just bottomed right at that regression band, right? So here we are, running the highs. Give it, and this is the thing, right? When I say run the highs, sometimes people think that means that it has to immediately pull back. The thing is like, when you look at this in like 2 years, whether Ethereum topped last week for a local top or it tops this week, it's not going to matter, right? It's going to still look like it just ran the highs before pulling back. So give it some time. If we're sitting here and it's mid-September and Ethereum hasn't gotten that sort of mean reversion, then I'm wrong, right? And if that's the case, I will just come out here, head held high, and say, you know what? I got that one wrong, right?
A decisive shift is taking shape in Ethereum's market cycle, where a breakout to new highs marks resilience after years of consolidation. Yet, history reminds us that sharp pullbacks often follow such milestones, particularly in September, a month that has repeatedly proven seasonally weak across post-election years. Far from signaling the end of the rally, a retracement now would serve as a healthy reset, cooling off excess momentum and allowing the market to establish a stronger foundation. By carving out a higher low, Ethereum positions itself for renewed strength in the months ahead, with volatility and 20 to 30% drawdowns forming part of the natural rhythm of the cryptocurrency market. The recent surge highlights the cyclical nature of digital assets, where temporary setbacks often pave the way for even more significant advances. Could this anticipated pullback become the springboard for Ethereum's next explosive rally, setting the stage for new all-time highs before year-end? So stay tuned. If you're interested in clear, data-driven insights on crypto cycles, be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons so you never miss the updates. Thanks for watching, and let's see how the next chapter unfolds.